The invention of the grain cradle was a major advance in the harvesting of grain. The grain cradle is simply a scythe with an arrangement of fingers attached to the snath or handle, such that cut grain falls upon the fingers and can be cleanly laid down in a row for collection. It was said that with the grain cradle, an experienced man could cut 8 acres of wheat in one day. The cradle was commonly used throughout the 1800s and into the beginning of the 20th century, in part because many of the smaller farms were not designed for mechanical reaping, and in part because there were still a great number of smaller farms where the mechanical reaper was not economical. However, by the end of the 19th century, the cradle had been generally replaced by a mechanical reaper, a horse-drawn or tractor-drawn machine patented by Cyrus McCormick in 1834. Henry Walk manufactured grain cradles, grain rakes, and shaving forks in his shop in Canebrook, Antrim Township, PA during the 19th century. Mr. Walk was born in Antrim Township in 1834. While working on a local farm, Henry fashioned a shaking fork for the use of a friend. The workmanship was of such quality that others soon began requesting that he make forks for them. Soon, Mr. Walk established a little shop on the farm. A few years later, he moved the shop to his own property opposite the Canebrook schoolhouse and engaged in business as a manufacturer of forks, rakes, and grain cradles. Soon his shop on the Ladersburg Road became well known. At the height of his success, he produced about 1,500 cradles, 2,000 forks, and 2,000 rakes a year. With the help of his son, Lester, he continued in business until 1924, retiring at the age of 90. Mr. Walk's shop had been built in 3 parts on the side of a hill. The lowest section is where the cradles were assembled. It had several benches, and there were marks in the hard-packed floor to measure the size and angle of the cradles. The middle section had a pot-bellied stove, cold bin, and desk. The third section was 2 stories high and held the machinery that was run by one stationary steam engine that ran the equipment through an arrangement of shafts and belts. In 1929, Ira Lesher of Marion, PA, bought all of Mr. Walk's tools and equipment and incorporated them into his furniture-making shop. Lesher produced cradles, rakes, and forks until 1939. Mr. Lesher's son, J. Ira Lesher, donated all the tools, patterns, and equipment to the Ty-Menasacta Environmental Center in Greencastle, PA, where they are now on display.